Hey guys, Dan here with Battlefield Curator. I've got an American Eagle Luger. Why is it called an American Eagle Luger? They had the American Eagle crest put on there and they were sent over to the US for the US commercial market. Now this Luger here is made by DWM. The models here were known as the M1900. Interestingly enough, the US military in 1901 said, hey, DWM, we need to test out these for the military. Could you send us two? So two were immediately sent to Springfield Armory for military testing. Now, Legacy Collectibles has a pretty cool video on the history of the two that were sent, and they believe they have one of the two. These two that were sent, there was not enough, obviously, for total testing, so 1,000 Lugers, American Eagle Lugers, were sent directly from Germany around 1901 and 1902. And those got sent off to cavalry units, to infantry guys, to whoever, whichever units that they needed to test these out with. Probably officers, if anything. But either way, they were all in .765 caliber, and there was about 1,000 of them that were sent. Now, the US military, they didn't really like the Luger, so they didn't adopt it. The main reasons here was they failed trials testing and they were German made. And Germany and the US were probably not getting along too well during that time frame. So there's probably some negative sentiment about adopting a foreign made pistol for US military use. The US military adopted the M1911 in 45 ACP later on. Now, speaking of 45 ACP, the initial 1,000 were sent in .765 Parabellum. There were some that were sent in 45 ACP from Germany. Some Lugers in 45 ACP that were sent, and those are what people know as the American Eagle Luger when you bring up American Eagle Luger, or Lugers that were tested by the US military. Most people think about the Lugers in 45 ACP because they are pretty rare, and a lot of people would say, oh man, a Luger in 45, and that kind of sticks, you know, up here when they think about a Luger that was tested by the American military. But now you know, keep in mind that Lugers in .765 Parabellum were also sent for test trials, and that was in the early 1900s. Interestingly enough, Germany didn't test them till a little later, probably around 1906, and eventually they adopted it in 1908 in 9mm Parabellum. So the US military tested out Lugers before the German military. Interesting. Now, this American Eagle Luger here is not one that was used for military test trials in the US. This one is actually a US commercial one. There are around 20,000 American Eagle Lugers made by DWM for the US commercial market, and this is one of them. Now, the difference between this and a test trials Luger, the 1,000 that were sent, is that this one's going to have a specific import mark. So the US commercial ones will have an import mark that says Germany on the front side there of that frame. Something else is that the military test trial serial numbers fell between 6,100 and 7,100. So if it's outside of that serial range, it's probably going to be a commercial Luger. So those are the two things you really got to look for. Other than that, they're pretty similar. They have the American Eagle crest on there. They have a safety on the grip, and they'll have the interesting sloped grips for the toggle there. Now, the M1902 was also made. That one's going to have a specific magazine counter where you can see through the magazine and you can see a little through the little window and count how many rounds you got. Now, the M1906 came after that, and that featured flat toggle grips. And the 20,000 for the US commercial market are going to be in .765 and 9mm. Those are pretty slick looking Lugers, especially with that American Eagle crest. Now, are these the only American Eagle Lugers that you'll find on the commercial market? No, I believe there was a few more that were made post-World War II by other companies. I know Stoger made some. They're gonna look a little different than your average Luger. They'll stand out. Now, where else have we seen the American Eagle crest on German pistols? Well, Mauser also put American Eagle crest on their HSC pistols. I think this one here is a commemorative one, so you'll see this one on the HSC commemorative. I think that was made in the 1960s. Either way, now you know there are German pistols out there with an American Eagle crest. Doesn't mean that they were made in America. Now these early American Eagle Lugers, they are seen as highly collectible. Not as collectible as the military test trials ones, but pretty collectible still. And also, if you're a Luger collector, you probably know about the history of these, and they're probably on the lookout for them if you don't already have them. It's an interesting piece of American history because of its ties to the US military and the test trials. Man, that thing is such a sweet pistol to take to the range. I'd like to thank my buddy Mike for letting me feature this Luger on the channel. It's pretty awesome. Well, if you found value in this video, I'd ask that you pulverize the like button and subscribe for the algorithms. Be sure to check out the merch link in the description. And as always, be sure to learn history and curate history. Make it a great day.